Keith, first of all, many congratulations. When did you hear the news?
Oh, yeah, absolutely thrilled. So, heard the news a couple of weeks ago, confirmed from Zach, the chief exec, and yeah, absolutely chuffed. You know, been a long time at the club, and to have such a great opportunity, yeah, absolutely thrilled.
And I was going to say, because, you know, born in Brighton, you played for the club, so I guess it goes without saying that the club's sort of in your blood, really.
Absolutely in my blood. 31 years this is going into now. You know, obviously started watching the team 78, win the Gillette Cup, you know, and move on from there and come and be a YTS apprentice with hopes I could be a cricketer, and then you become a cricketer, and then you move to the coaching, and now what a great opportunity to make a difference to Sussex cricket, full stop.
And is it kind of almost like sort of the boyhood dream come true, really?
Oh, yeah, it is. So in respect of when you first come in, and when I first joined Sussex, it was about representing the club on the pitch and winning trophies, Lord's final, stuff like that, which we managed to, you know, get to a Lord's final. Didn't win it, unfortunately, but then once you move to coaching, it's all about then how you're going to make the difference to the whole bigger picture, and now this is a great opportunity.
It's the first director of cricket role here at Sussex. Can you just sort of explain what the role is and how it's going to work?
Yeah. So on November the 1st, obviously you're aware of the merger that took place. The Sussex County Cricket Club and the Sussex Cricket Board merged to become one. That then created a brand new strategy for Sussex Cricket, for the whole of Sussex Cricket, not just for the cricket club here. So this role is to make sure the pillars in that strategy, so performance, participation and community, all work well together to achieve the objectives of the new organisation.
And in terms of a brief, Keith, that sounds like a pretty broad brief. You're going to be a busy man.
Yeah, I'm going to be a busy man, but obviously we've got some good people in the organisation, in the structure as well, which I need some really good relationships, key relationships. Mark Davis looking after the professional team, obviously a key relationship. And then Tim Shutt, who's the Managing Director of the Sussex Cricket Foundation. Obviously the community aspects and some of the participation bit is a key area for Tim to focus on. So our relationship there in making all the pillars join together and work for Sussex Cricket is crucial.
What's your relationship going to be with Mark Davis in particular, Keith?
Close relationship, but it's Mark's responsibility for professional cricket. So yes, he does have to report into me, but I'm there to support Mark. The biggest focus for both Mark and Luke is that I enable them to focus solely on the performance of the team. So Mark to be able to coach and not get drawn into other things he doesn't need to be involved with, and for obviously Luke to concentrate on his batting and his captaincy, and again take away any of some of the periphery things that they sometimes get drawn into that they don't need to.
So it's very much a case of that Mark's role could really much concentrating on the cricket team without everything else that goes around it.
Yeah, absolutely. Really focus on the performance of the team.
If I could draw an analogy to football, Keith, just because it seems a good one to do, the director of football has sometimes come in football circles and hasn't really seemed to work. What's your view on how perhaps it could work in cricket?
Well, I think some have been seen not to work, and I think some have worked really well. The biggest thing is I think it works well if the person, and in this situation me, doesn't interfere too much with what's going on there. And we trust Mark. Mark's a very capable person, and Luke, to deliver what we want from the professional cricket team. So I'm not going to be in there too much delving in. I obviously need to be able to ask questions at the right time of why we're doing this and making sure the strategy's on track, but that's their job.
And what about in terms of issues such as, for example, player recruitment, Keith? Where would you be with that?
Well, obviously Mark will in time decide who the players he wants to recruit, and it'll be myself to then go and try and recruit them. But it's very much Mark fitting into Mark and Sussex Cricket strategy, and then he can again concentrate on the result and out there on the pitch with the players he's got, and we'll try and get the players in for him.
And despite the fact that the club were relegated last year, how exciting a time is this for the club? Because a new captain, a new coach particularly.
I think it's very exciting. So whenever you get change, to start off with, people can be a bit apprehensive, but it's just such an opportunity, and you must view it in that way. And change is good. Change for change's sake is bad. And this has been a really well thought out process, and we've got people who are aspirational and have skills that can be really utilised in the new roles they've got. But we can't be naive enough to think that we don't need some outside expertise as well. So obviously we're still in the process of appointing a batting coach. That's ongoing, but I think that role is someone who we didn't have the right person within Sussex at the time, and we need to get expertise from outside for that.
Can I ask you as well, outside of the first team as well, about women's cricket and some of the junior cricket responsibilities that presumably you'll have as well, Keith?
Yeah. So before Sussex Women's Cricket, before the merger, that was sat in the board. Well, that now comes into the performance area of one of the new strategy pillars. There's some real great opportunities and developments coming up in the summer for women's cricket. There's obviously the Women's Super League, who we're partnering with Hampshire, but we've also got our own views of how we wanted to develop Sussex cricket, and you know, we've got some really big plans which will come to fruition in the summer, which is, you know, going to be so exciting for Sussex women's cricket and girls cricket.
That sounds fantastic. So when will we hear more? Will that be during the summer?
Yeah, so start the summer, you know, once we've just tied down a little bit more of the detail and how the final bit of operations is going, that's really going to be seen by everyone in Sussex cricket as something that the new merger has sort of enabled us to deliver.
And what about development of young players? I mean, it's something everyone talks about in sport, but particularly in cricket. Presumably the responsibility for that is key as well, Keith.
Yeah, I think the whole focus for the new strategy is all about getting more out of Sussex, full stop, within the boundaries and also with our partners in Oxfordshire and Guernsey, because they're part of the Sussex family. We have to maximise at every single level what we can get out of what we've got in this county, and that's scorers, volunteers, umpires, the guys on a Tuesday and Thursday night who coach at the local Colt section, and helping them to get the skills required to enable the pathway to operate smoother. We've run a very successful academy for a period of time, but with Cole Hopkinson going into the role now, even though we are highly successful, we've got to be better. So we can't just rest on what we do now. And Cole, I'm going to be, you know, talking to Cole, we want him to produce more in girls cricket, men's cricket, everywhere. But this role is so important that everyone sees within Sussex a difference to the operation, out on the ground, out on the corners of the county.
Final question, you mentioned there about Carl, obviously, you've taken up your old role. It seems that Sussex are very keen to promote from within. Do you think that's a good thing, Keith?
Yeah, I think we're very good at looking forward and think succession planning. Who's got the right potential skills to maybe go into this role if you need it? It doesn't mean you then do not go and recruit from outside, but the danger is when you have a year where you get relegated is everyone's, it's terrible. You have to properly evaluate what's going on. Right, what is working, what isn't working, where do we need to change, where do we need outside expertise to come in and help? And I think we've done that really well, and I think we've got a really good succession plan through the whole of the system. And that's going back to, it starts with the first contact we make to a guy who's coaching a junior section, a boys' girls section out in Mayfield or Hastings, and if they've got aspirations, we have to make sure they can fulfil their aspirations.
Final question for you. I guess your former role was very much involved in the coaching side. You're very smartly dressed in your suit today. Is that going to be sort of a difficult will it be sort of a bit more behind the desk now, Keith? Or?
I think it will inevitably be more behind a desk, but I'm an aspirational coach and I've got a high level of skill in coaching, and I don't want that to be wasted either. We're not big enough to waste people's talents they have. So I will still be out in the field coaching as well, just at the right time supporting the people in the way they want to be supported.
And final question, what are we, about 10 weeks away probably from the start of the season? I mean, I think everyone starts to get excited, don't they?
Yeah.
You know, it's getting towards the end of January now, thank goodness, and it's not that long to the spring.
Yeah, no, it's obviously, you know, we've had some challenges at the start of this year, which have, you know, obviously with the sudden death of Matthew, which obviously the club's still coming to terms with, and we've got a few challenging weeks ahead still for that. But now you're looking out and they're starting to cut the grass and you get the smell of it, and suddenly you realise we're not far away, and you're now looking forward to the nights where you see the sun going down a bit later and it keeps edging away, and you just realise how close it's now getting. And it's very, very exciting, and we just want to crack on.
Wonderful.